Podcast with me, Carly. Hope you are all well, witches. Our book review today is for Stone-Tongued, written by Carol J. Forrester. So this is a poetry book written by a lovely listener of the podcast that she has just released. I absolutely love poetry, but it is always very hit and miss with me as to whether I connect with it. I absolutely did with this book. The subtitle on the cover of this book is, "These voices are not new. They are simply tired of being spoken over." And the book's dedication is, "To those who felt their tongues turn to stone when they tried to tell their story, your words have power. Let no one convince otherwise." These are poems that Carol has drawn inspiration from history, folklore, and myth. At the back of the book, there are notes as to where the poems are rooted. Here is the book's blurb. "We counted all the non-witches, the waterlogged women parcelled in their tiny, tidy Christian graves. Witches are woven throughout the book alongside warriors, rebels, sex workers, goddesses, and everyday individuals. The phrase stone-tongued emerges in the first poem, where accused witches are declared innocent and tucked away in graves paid for by the crown. Sulis reads through curse tablets in her temple. Joanna Ferror remembers the peasants' revolt from her kitchen. And Mary Jones throws her dinner in the face of the workhouse headmaster when he tries to silence her. Brought together to create a coven of powerful and sometimes violent women. These poems show that power might be hidden, but not forgotten. We arrived in this world screaming for revenge." Oh, it sounds so powerful, and it absolutely is. So to give you an idea of how witchy this book is, here are some of the poem's titles. We have Skinwalker, Witch Bottle, Isabel Gowdy. "With the other goddesses in my local park, they call on a sea witch. When the crone does not bring her washing in. Witches and snail shells, where laurels grow among ashes. Winter goddess, dandelions have roots in necromancy. The Calyax's mother, when Medusa goes shopping. Ginny Greenteeth, the Soviet night witches, and Circe's pigs." Oh, and also St. Hilda finds Medusa. Lots of the other poems are witchy too. There are many more as well within the book. So these are just such beautifully heartfelt poems. My favourites include Isabel Gowdy, Overgrowth, which is all about mushrooms. They call on a sea witch, Witches and snail shells, Winter goddess, the Calyax's mother, dandelions have roots in necromancy. Too many to mention. I couldn't even decide which one to read on the show. But here is My Body Is Not a Temple. It is a witch's cottage on the edge of a swamp, half hidden by rushes, where I sit outside and watch the water, lap at my toes as a glimmer of tadpoles flash, with a thought that this is a good place to have built myself. I do not know when I laid the first brick or how I thatched the roof, dug the garden, only that one day I turned to find roses growing, a kettle whistling, a kitchen of terracotta tiles and low beams, a cauldron beside the wood stack, I found soil beneath my nails and calluses across my palms. A face in the window that no longer scared me. I no longer fear what the villagers might think. I love that this was written by one of our very own witches. I will put a link in the show notes to Carol's book, and just want to say to Carol, congrats on such a beautiful book. It is a book I will dip in and out of often, and it offers up much food for thought and inspiration. So today's episode is a real, hodgepodge of different witchy topics. I just wanted to get into something suitably witchy and share what's come up for me in my practice of late. So I find myself studying Hecate again. I felt that I'd strayed from my relationship with her. For a while, I felt very disconnected again from myself. I was still connected to her slightly, but nothing like I was previously. So I've gone right back to basics. I find myself carving out some time each morning, spending some time studying her, making some offerings, sitting in meditation and speaking with her, not asking for anything. I feel like I've literally got to do the work and be very present and devoted. I know a lot of the information on her, but a lot I have forgotten. So I don't think I really realised it either, but I have a lot of tattoos. And over the course of this year, without really connecting it to her, have finished off a wolf tattoo that I've had for a while, a lion tattoo, and also snakes. So they are like the animals that I've always connected to her. I know there are other animals as well. And I'm like, okay, let's go with some more Hecate type tattoos. So some keys, and after years of searching, I found a really beautiful Hecate tattoo that I would like to have. Also, I didn't even realize or think about this, but I've got like rose tattoos. I've got laurel. I've actually got a skull tattoo that is in the currently being done at the moment, which links, I think, to her underworld connections as well, her chthonic deity associations. So if only working with a deity was that easy. I know it's not about aesthetics, but I just find it really interesting that a lot of the, what I like to call art, other people might just think random scribbles on my body, links to her symbolism. I have also, so I don't know if you remember on the episode, The Unbinding, I really loved the concept of the little dolls, like the Mokosh style dolls that we talked about. Even though obviously from that episode it absolutely terrified me, I've actually found a really beautiful handcrafted Hecate one that I really want to have. So anyway, I know that's like not doing the work. Back to the actual work I am doing to connect with her. So I am working on connecting with her through words, prayers, shadow work. Shadow work always comes up for me in the summer months. Why, I don't know. Divination and study. We talked on the show with Danielle Dolsky about the concept of prayer and how that doesn't always, as a word, sit right with some of us witches, perhaps due to it aligning more with specific religions such as Christianity and so on. In her book, Keeping Her Keys, Cindy Brannan states that if the word prayer doesn't sit right with you, perhaps referring to it as incantations. And that has definitely become a term I feel more comfortable with. I don't know, I just thought I would mention this just to say sometimes we might have worked on a specific area of our craft for quite a while. We might have worked with a deity or even our ancestors, and we can get quite complacent or, let's face it, bored of what we are doing. I feel really guilty saying that. And actually that's on me, like not on my deity. Like my deity is far from being boring. I'm not just saying about deities or, spirit that you might work with. It might just be your craft in general. And sometimes coming back to the basics. So for me, like I'm literally coming back to full moon, new moon workings again, because I've just kind of lost it all a bit, really. So, when we get bored or if we don't feel connected to it, it makes us not want to show up at our altar or do anything witchy. And that's definitely something I go through in ebbs and flows. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me, like going back to basics in terms of my relationship with Hecate has really inspired me and helped me to reconnect with her. I don't know. I just wondered if anyone else felt the same. They might want to hear this today, but it's normalizing that these things come up. And again, I've spoke about this, like coming to a Sabbath or a new moon or a full moon. And, I've had times where I'm just like, I'm just going to light this tea light and I'm done. But I love it when I'm fully inspired and I'm kind of there with, carving things in candles, anointing candles, using all my herbs. I don't know, like that's kind of where I want to be back at. It's not always going to be like that for me either. I fully appreciate I'm not always going to have that energy. But if I can get back to that and be that witch as often as I can, I am going to try to. On this similar note, a project I'm working on for the podcast is to interview some real witches. So basically, this will be an additional podcast episode that I will publish from time to time. This will be where I ask each witch a series of questions, same for each witch, where we will explore their craft and how they work as a means of normalizing when we have these ebbs and flows, perhaps allow us to gain inspiration and knowledge from this witch, but also opening up this little community that I personally feel we have with the podcast. So you just aren't hearing just from me, basically. If this is something you think you would like to be interviewed for, and again, please don't think that you need to be like a seasoned witch, all-knowing or anything like that, whatever stage of the craft that you are at, I would love to hear from you. Perhaps you'd like to email me and tell me about your craft and we can go from there. I already have some wonderful witches lined up for this, but would definitely love to hear from some more, and maybe this will be like a regular extra episode. Just to say, this isn't going to be like a self-promotion type of interview for witches to be selling to you, just a genuine, authentic peek into their practice that they are willing to share. Anyway, I would love to hear from you if this is of interest. I will put my email in the show notes and I will get back to you as soon as I can. So, this May, I find myself interested in protection in respect of my home, as I've just had a major deep spring clean. So I'm conscious of setting wards, resetting things with my guardian, just protecting my home in general. This is something I've covered on a past Patreon podcast episode in some depth, which I will link in the show notes if you are interested in that. So this brings me to talk today about witch bells, how and why they were used, how to create your own. Then we are looking at black obsidian, which I wanted to get into following the mirrors episodes that we had, also for its heavy protection energy. And we finish up today with a look at the moth, a creature deeply linked to the soul, but also shadow work and huge transformation. So I've been going through huge shifts in my life recently. I think a lot of us actually have as a result of the recent eclipse, like lots of witches that I've been speaking to. But also, the other night, I had this really vivid dream. Oh, God, when people say, like, let me tell you all about my dream. And you're sitting there for, like, 5 minutes where they tell you all these random things about being abducted. And then this alien was actually their ex-boyfriend. And anyway, it's not like that one. Basically, I had this dream where I was clearing up tons of moth chrysalises from the floor, and the moths had all flown out and away. And I don't know, it just really got me thinking about the moth. Also, some of the messages that moth has in relation to their symbolism are particularly poignant, following on from the soul contract and spirit guide episodes. So, without further ado, I've waffled on long enough. Join me after the break to look at black obsidian, moths, and witch bells. Obsidian, linked to the elements earth and fire, the planet Saturn, deities Pele, Kali, Tezcatlipoca, zodiac signs Capricorn, Sagittarius, and Scorpio. Linked to the root chakra, it has a hardness of 6. Its composition is amorphous, and it is in the mineral family igneous glass. Its magical properties are self-control, balance, strength, creativity, intuition, protection, grounding, truth, focus, abundance, dispels negativity, transformation, stress relief, inner peace, revealing. Obsidian was first mentioned by Pliny the Elder in his Latin scripted Natural History in 77 AD. Obsidian was highly valued during the Stone Age era to make tools and weapons due to it being easy to work with and very durable. It could be fractured to produce arrowheads, knives, lances, and axes in a process called knapping. It is easy to carve, and polished up could create mirrors before they were created from glass. Glass and obsidian have a similar hardness. To this day, obsidian mirrors are often used to aid clairvoyant practices. The Native Americans used it to create tools, weapons, and ornaments. To this day, it is often used in surgery as it produces a cutting edge sharper and thinner than the best surgical steel. The mystical properties of obsidian also date back to early civilizations, most notably in Mesoamerica, for its reflective quality and ability to be polished into mirrors. Deep black or sometimes with a murky transparency, these mirrors reflected shadow images and were metaphors for sacred caves and pools of water. They were conduits for supernatural forces. To the Maya, they were a means to communicate with otherworld entities, and to others, they were a portal to realms that could be seen but not interacted with. In ancient Mexico and surrounding regions, obsidian was known as Itztli or Teotetl, meaning the divine stone, used to carve amulets, jewelry, grave ornaments, and images of the god Tezcatlipoca, whose name means smoking mirror, and who was said to see all that occurred in the world and heavens through his obsidian mirror. The Olmecs fashioned concave mirrors capable of lighting fires, and the Maya and Aztecs wore obsidian mirrors to show elite status and polished it into sheets for divining a person's destiny. Ancient Greek civilizations used obsidian balls and flat mirrors for scrying, and Native American cultures used obsidian in their spiritual ceremonies to sharpen inner sight. Obsidian is an igneous rock formed from the rapid cooling volcanic lava, therefore found in volcanic regions. Its black colour is from the iron content. It can have a dark brown tinge to it also. Obsidian links to both the element of fire and earth as a result. It is said to transmit energy up from the earth through the spine and transmutes it into a powerful energetic force that we can draw upon. Obsidian is also given the name the protector, the ideal stone to support you through the shadow work process, a stone of truth that is said to uncover the subconscious and bring things into the light. It can support us in facing ourselves and instigating shadow work, facing our inner demons and limitations that are causing us to feel stuck. Should we feel frozen by fear or angst, this crystal is good to draw energy from to help clear our energy and the space that we are in. Obsidian has long been used within shamanic rituals and holistic practices. Working with obsidian alongside shadow work helps us to dig deep under the surface of consciousness in order to ascertain the root of our pain and suffering. It can illuminate and resolve the old traumas that can link back to early childhood, eradicating any blockages or thoughts and beliefs that are holding us back so we can process in a constructive way. Its connection to the earth element helps keeps us grounded throughout this work, especially if we feel this brings up a chaotic energy or we feel erratic. It's a wonderful crystal to help with regaining clarity and feeling rooted. I had to stop recording then. It's a really lovely, hot, sunny day. I'm talking about shadow work, the subconscious, a really serious topic. And all I can hear in the background outside is like the tinkling of a little ice cream van that's making its way around my village. Anyway, let's continue. Its high vibrational frequency is said to help with processing emotions and to learn valuable lessons without inflicting harshness, self-criticism, or judgment upon ourselves. It helps us accept and see uncomfortable truths without disturbing our inner peace. It is a crystal that helps reverse anything disturbing our peace. If we feel blocked, anxious, unsafe due to outside influences, this crystal can provide a powerful, quick-working, energetic shield to prevent turbulent energy from entering our aura and support us in remaining calm. In times of uncertainty, when fear, anxiety, and overwhelm arise, obsidian can help us to remain level-headed so we can confidently navigate through these times. Obsidian can help us to face our fears and rise above our limitations. It's designed for reflection and genuine soul searching that can strengthen the spirit and body. Its grounding properties can enable us to feel empowered. A crystal that is said to heal wounds and cleanse the soul and body from negativity and heavy energy, taking us out of any victim mentality we may have been identifying with, boosting our confidence and determination, helping us to tackle obstacles and challenges that arise. It can help us clear up any confusion or doubt, develop a laser-sharp vision, and face challenges head-on and plan our next steps. A crystal said to awaken the leader and warrior status within us. Its energy helps us take back control over our lives whilst feeling confident in ourselves and our abilities, along with opening our eyes to new potential and opportunities. Obsidian protects us from energy that weakens our boundaries, strengthening the core of our personality, helping us act authentically with determination, poise, and integrity. A healing, stabilizing stone, offering protection against toxicity, evil, and psychic attacks. It has the ability to penetrate many layers of our psyche. Aligned with the planet of Saturn and the zodiac sign Capricorn, that both hold positive aspects such as discipline, stability, and perseverance. Here are some ways that you can work with obsidian. Carry on your person as a powerful talisman that works as a shield of protection against harmful energies and provides strength during times of difficulty. Clears your auric field and helps reclaim inner balance while strengthening your body, mind, and spirit. Obsidian has a powerful impact on our whole physical body. Carry on your person when working through shock and trauma. Can help unblock the heart chakra. Aids the release of addiction and addictive behavior while supporting you with self-control. Changes bad luck to good. Can stimulate the gift of prophecy. Try using a black obsidian spear for clairvoyancy or scrying. Wear obsidian to ground, stabilize, and anchor. Brings hidden issues, emotions, and traumas to the surface. Work with obsidian to work through past life issues, regression, and karmic lessons. It's said to help us tap into our hidden potential and past life karma that needs to be resolved. Can help us to better understand our Akashic records. Supports us with working through deep spiritual matters. Keep obsidian within the home to banish toxicity. It has a purifying capacity to cleanse from psychic attack and send harmful energy back to the sender. Use it to help with cutting etheric cords. It can help provide inner strength to say goodbye to connections that have outstayed their welcome. It can help us to carry out soul searching in order to release spiritual attachment and end soul contracts that don't benefit our growth. If consistently used for protection, obsidian can support us to vibrate higher whilst becoming grounded, deflecting any low vibrations. Favoured by many psychics for its access to many dimensions and for use during soul retrievals. Channels answers from our higher self, a stone without boundaries or limitations that can help us grow beyond pains or challenges. Used within mediumship rituals, it can open up channels of communication with the deceased and spirits. Offers powerful guidance for prophets, clairvoyants, and psychics, and helps to enhance intuition and clarity of psychic vision, supports precognition and enhances prophetic dreams. So let's talk about witch bells. A witch bell is a bell that is used by a witch within rituals, spells, divination, as an altar symbol or hung within the home. There are many ways witches can use bells within the craft. In times of old, people used to believe that bells had magical powers. The use of bells as a form of protection against evil goes back centuries. From its earliest origins, the sound of the bell has been closely associated with divine power. The shape of the bell is symbolic of the female force and the celestial vault. Since bells can produce sound vibrations that possess magical and spiritual power, they have been used in many religious rites. So they have been used in Catholic and Christian ceremonies, amongst many other religions. Here are some examples of how bells have been used in magic. In folk magic, the ringing of bells is said to drive away evil spirits, witches, and the devil himself, and wards off the evil eye. Bells are widely used for protection. They have been attached to doors, clothing, worn as amulets, tied to children, and hung from the necks of horses, camels, cows, donkeys, and other animals important to a community. Bells can be used in clearing and charging crystals and other metaphysical items. Bells on the door are said to bring good fortune into the home. Bells can be used in invoking and calling in spirits. In Wicca, bells can be used for invoking the Wiccan goddess. Fairies are said to love bells, so they can be used to please them and hopefully keep their mischief at bay. Bells can be used to represent the element of air or water in spells and rituals. For energy cleansing, witch bells are popular amongst practitioners of witchcraft to ward off bad energy. You may want to create your own witch bells that you use within spells, ritual, as a protection ward, or as a ceremonial piece. It is believed that when a bell is cleansed and consecrated to be used as a magical tool, it can help to purify everyone that is present when it rings. For this reason, you will often see them used at the beginning or end of witchcraft and pagan rituals. You can also go for different tones and varieties of a bell, but it is important to find the right tone to suit you. Many practitioners prefer a bell tone based on their intentions. Some like its sound to be strong and clear, while some believe it needs to be softer or have perhaps a more haunting sound. After all, there is no set in stone way of choosing your bells. Some witches may even say your bell chooses you and not the other way round. Bells are said to hold magical properties relating to protection, purification, joy, celebration, and alarm. So, making your own witches' bells. For this, you will need a metal ring, string, or rope to hold the bells together. Bells, small to medium sized bells, are best. Charms, so you could include other items to make your witch bells more powerful, perhaps feathers, pendants, crystals, runes. You might want to create the right ambiance to work your magic, perhaps burning some candles and incense. You might even want to cast a circle for this. Smoke cleanse or cleanse your supplies in whichever method that you prefer. String and tie your bells onto your ring, rope, or string. As you go along, you might wish to charge your bells with energy, perhaps by chanting, singing, praying, invoking your deities or ancestors' energy, any way that you prefer to raise energy. Add your charms and any other items to your witch bells. Thank the present energies, so your ancestors or deities. Hang your finished enchanted bells upon your front door or anywhere you feel drawn to hang them. Speak the following traditional incantation over your bells or create your own. Guard our home, bell on the door, let evil spirits come no more. Evil spells shall not be cast, and good fortune ever last. So mote it be. The Moth. Magical themes, shadow work, divine feminine, moon energy, yin energy, psychic abilities, intuition, transformation, death, rebirth, the afterlife, inner knowledge, discovery of higher self, moving past false beliefs, independence, introspection, adaptation, wisdom, truth, secrets, subtlety, faith, determination, vulnerability, concealment, attraction, fatal attraction, and weakness. The moth is sometimes considered by some to be the ugly sister of the butterfly. Throughout history and many cultures, it has often been feared as an omen of death or a messenger from the dead. The moth outnumbers the butterfly population 9-1. They are important pollinators for plants such as orchids. Some Native American tribes considered the moth to be sacred and a powerful teacher that death has to occur for rebirth to ensue. Moths were often included in some tribes' healing ceremonies, reflecting death in the spirit, leading to transformation and regeneration. Some tribes in California were said to use the cocoon of a moth as a rattle within ceremonies. In Celtic mythology, the moth symbolized death and decay. Certain moth species connected to witchcraft, imminent death, and madness. Overall, a harbinger of serious misfortune. The Gaelic believed they represented souls of the dead, Children were discouraged from chasing butterflies and moths for that reason, believing them to be the souls of loved ones. The Bible depicts the moth as wicked and frail. Within many stories, their theme was that of destruction, decay, and judgment. In art, the moth is generally symbolic of the human soul, the untethered soul, or the growth and development of one's soul throughout their lifetime. The moth's mythology is generally muddled but largely represents three main concepts of mystery, darkness, light, and transformation. Butterflies and moths are both linked to transformation. However, the moth's connection is to a more painful transformation and the darker subconscious. The ending of the caterpillar. This can be a period of introspection before a new life unfurls for us. Death is an essential part of this process in the spiritual sense upon this journey, a deep internal shift that occurs within the subconscious. Should the moth keep making itself known to you, shadow work can be a good place to start on your spiritual journey. This can bring into the light what is holding you back and also connect you to your intuition, using your own inner knowledge as a guiding light. Should you be searching for purpose or deeper meaning within life, Moth reminds us the light we are looking for is within us, not external. Draw upon your truth, inner light, and higher self to navigate the journey through the darkness to your authentic self and highest path. Introspection can provide us with inner hidden knowledge that we can work on uncovering, accessible to us through tools such as shadow work, journaling, meditation, and also seeking out like-minded spiritual connections and communities. The moth is drawn to the man-made light, often to its detriment. It is believed the female moths have a vibration they emit at a frequency moths see as light. They are wired to be attracted to the feminine light and cannot stay away, often mistaking artificial light as one and the same. Male moths of certain families are said to be able to smell a female moth miles away. Moth moves towards the light with blind faith and determination, which can lead to the moth's harm or demise. This can ask us to question goals we are moving towards. Is the light we are moving towards positive or negative for us? The moth can end up flying towards its death. Are you doing the same within your own life? A symbol of fatal attraction. Is there someone or something you are dangerously, detrimentally drawn to? Can you break ties with whatever this toxic pattern or thing is? Sometimes this attraction to the light can be similar to our own spiritual journey. We will often seek out our purpose or a deeper meaning to life. Some will carve out a spiritual path to obtain this. Some will follow a more distracting light along the way in the form of perhaps sex, money, drugs, physical pleasures, and comforts that can take our attention and ultimately hinder our journey whilst providing a false sense of self. We can check in with ourselves should we feel we have become distracted or stumbled off the path. Through doing this, we can realign with our hearts and higher self to contemplate our new intentions and how best to proceed. Frequently seeing the moth can remind us of life's distractions from what you really want, an encouragement to push forward on our spiritual path. They remind us of the darker side of change that involves loss and endings. That sadness is temporary, and if we allow for these, new doors can be opened that will fill empty voids with new opportunities. If you find yourself emerging from an intense, dark period within your life, The moth, as a spirit guide, might be making an appearance to guide you from the darkness into the light. As they are drawn into the light, they can call in the light for you and ask you to emerge from your cocoon when the time is right. The light attempting to shine from you may be dimmed and hidden in the shadows of fear and trauma within the subconscious. Allow time for deep shadow work, healing, and facing your darker side in a bid to move past limiting beliefs holding you back. Perhaps you are outgrowing a past version of yourself. Allow the spirit of the moth to wrap you within a comforting cocoon and show you the way to rebirth. This can be at a crossroads within your life, a time that requires you to make a decision on which road to take. Allow Moth to help guide you to the correct one, alongside trusting your intuition. Despite the darkness, make sure you continue to move toward the light. The moth's message is also one of independence, to rely on oneself to find your way and unveil the power you possess. By overcoming limiting beliefs, you can step into your power and raise your self-confidence. Moth reminds you how capable you are of adaptation and transformation. Like the cocoon period, make sure you take time to be still, rest, and introspect so you can become your most authentic self. Trust that you will see the light, even if the darkness is all-encompassing right now. This is from Spirit Animals by Teresa Shaver. If your spirit animal is the moth, then you are probably a bit of a dreamer. The moth spirit animal is known to live with its head in the clouds. People with the moth spirit tend to strive for big things. They are ambitious. However, they may need occasional reminders not to covet things which they cannot obtain. Success will not bring happiness unless the person in question works on self-fulfillment as well. The moth spirit animal tends to choose a path and become obsessed with following it. This can lead to intense drive and high achievement. However, this can also lead to inflexibility and burnout. People with the moth spirit animal should practice spontaneity and try to roll with the punches as much as they can. The moth spirit animal is full of potential and capable of amazing growth. People with this spirit animal tend to be curious about the world around them, and they are always asking big questions. This is from The Shaman's Guide to Power Animals by Laurie Morrison. The moth power animal is connected with both creation and degradation. Moths are well known for their tendency to eat pantry items, textiles, and other discarded things. The moth power animal brings change and ushers out the old. The moth is also capable of creating beautiful things. Moths are responsible for weaving the incredibly soft, strong, and luxuriant silk thread. It sounds like I'm talking about a toilet roll advertisement there. Soft, strong, and long. Sorry. Moths are responsible for weaving the incredibly soft, strong, and luxuriant silk thread, which becomes silk fabric. Thus, the moth represents the balance between creation and destruction, and old and new. As a spirit animal, moth can encourage you to turn inwards for the answers you seek. And, I love this, that the first person you should go to for answers is you. Also serves as a reminder that we have to embrace our vulnerability and flaws whilst we work through our personal transformation. Moth is symbolic of intuition, psychic awareness, mysteries of the occult, and those of our ancestors. They can indicate a time to focus on spiritual development, such as improving your intuition. You may wish to work with moth symbolism within your craft when it comes to spell work or ritual pertaining to transformation of self and circumstances. Perhaps keep moth imagery upon your altar as you work through this process. Alternatively, incorporate moth imagery and energy into divination or spell work, ritual, as a means to communicate with the dead. The moth can represent someone wise in your life who you could turn to for advice or a secret that is soon to be revealed to you. Secrets, like moths, are attracted to the light. Should a particular type of moth appear to you frequently, you may wish to research its type and the folklore surrounding it to understand what its message is for you. So the brown moth is linked to domestic matters within the home or issues with a family member, often your mother. Connected to nurturing energy and the sense of feeling protected within the home. Can be a call to cleanse the home and your closet. Also, spiritually clearing out negative relationships, habits, and drawing better boundaries around who you trust. The white moth links to the crown chakra and its energy, light within the darkness, and overall spiritual energy. Can be a message of someone around you who is in need. Some cultures link the white moth to death, the underworld, and the veil. In Appalachian folklore, the moth signified ancestors being close by, bringing their love and protection. A similar message to finding a white feather. Black moth symbolism is complex and varied, dependent on region and culture. In Mexico, the black moth is known as the Black Witch, a harbinger of death and misfortune that is often feared. Some consider the black moth to be linked to the shadow realm, mystery, spirituality, and death. If you repeatedly see black moths, some believe this calls you to the dark arts. Also represents moving past what is holding you back and the suppressed power you possess. It asks you to face your fears and stand up for yourself in order to draw it back to you. Can also signify big changes you are to make within your life. Black and white moths symbolize balance and duality. Yellow and gold moths signify creativity, self-expression, manifesting, abundance, authentic self, and taking action towards goals to boost your confidence. Green moths, such as the lunar moth, oh my goodness, what a beautiful moth, connects to mystery, magic, intuition, the fae, also moon deities such as Selene. The Sphinx moth connects to wisdom, mystery, intuition, spirit guides, and past lives in ancient Egypt. Red moths symbolize anger, passion, intensity, lust, motivation, protection, and can be a warning of something to come. Pink moths symbolize joy and self-love within the darkest of times. The tiger moth links to courage, strength, and determination. The zebra moth connects to stability and predictability. The gypsy moth links to freedom, travel, and renewal. So granted, living here in the UK, many of the exotic moths that I've outlined to you, I'm not exactly likely to see. However, it might be that you come across one of these moths in a dream, a visualization, a journey, meditation. You might just see lots of imagery of them and want to look into what their specific type or color and so on is symbolic of. Should you come across many dead moths, this is said to be linked to pining for an ex-love, and this is a message to say goodbye and move on. Alternatively, this indicates the need for you to grow or change an energy of the past linked to a broken relationship, friendship, or a memory that you have stuck on repeat that needs to be released. That is all I have for you today, witches. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much to all of you who have recently left me a review. I've seen a ton of new reviews come through on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and so on. If you haven't already, I'll be so grateful if you could leave me a review. 5-star reviews are always coveted. It basically means that it pushes the podcast out there more. It just helps me basically with getting the message out there. Also, if you would like more witchy content, you can find my Patreon, The Witches Institute. I will put a link in the show notes. Over there, we have Patreon podcast episodes, a wonderful witchy community. We have meditations, folklore retellings, hedge witch studies. So we look at herbs, power animals, crystals, all manner of different witchy topics. Just a ton of extra witchy content if you're not getting enough from the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. I will catch up with you all next week, and I'm sending you lots and lots of witchy love.